Because if you're not willing to be challenged, if you're not willing to have this conversational melee where we really go back and forth and we pull things apart and we talk about it and we examine things, then this isn't a good fit.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So we're going to jump in and have another conversation about this upcoming Lydia Lightner episode. And before we do, though, because you fired shots last time about me cutting off my own eyebrows because I'm an idiot. I want to help everybody. Whenever Kathy and I fly somewhere, I look like this.
Not every time.
Most of the time. And Kathy's all asleep.
Yeah. It's extra funny. Like Charlie, my brother Charlie, would giggle because he knows for sure. I get that from our dad.
Yeah.
If I fall asleep sitting up, my mouth falls open. Though here's the thing, I have plenty of pictures of you doing that.
Oh, totally.
And snoring on planes. And because I'm so nice,
I
do not record you.
Well,
or put those pictures on coffee mug.
You're missing out. And I chose a coffee mug and not a shirt because I thought about a shirt with an arrow that says I'm with her and then an arrow towards you and then towards you.
Listen, the coffee mug is plenty.
So.
And you and AJ are not allowed to talk anymore?
I surprised him with that. He did not know until I came in with it.
No, he suggested that because you have so many of those pictures, he suggested a calendar and you guys are not allowed to talk anymore.
That was a good idea.
Okay, anyway.
So speaking do we hear? We're going to transition from how to make bad decisions to how to make good decisions. So in that episode with Lydia, she and her team talked about she and her team being faced with some really tough situations and then making decisions in that where there were very few clear-cut answers.
Oh, definitely no clear-cut answers.
Tell folks what was going on.
Well, and this is what so many of us, our only exposure to what was going on up in Minneapolis with 3,500 ICE agents was what we would, see on TV or hear on the news. And that's what they were actively navigating for, I don't even recall how long, though, operating and running a hotel. And so in the hospitality industry and navigating that, protesters and the safety of their employees. So absolutely no clear-cut answers. And it was really tremendous how they came together to make some of those decisions. In fact, Ryan Haas in his episode, so Ryan is a president over multiple properties for Scalzo Hospitality, and Lydia is their director of sales and marketing. And so both of them talk about it in their episodes. Definitely worth a listen.
Yeah, yeah. And to not give too much away about that and to have a conversation about making decisions. I wanted to talk about how you and I make decisions as business owners. And I believe we've shared pretty recently on this podcast that we had a meeting with our team to prep for the quarter. And when we did that in the conversation with team members, we shared that you and I are constantly coming. I like to think of it like a giant multi-sided building, and we keep coming around corners going, aha. That's some new stuff for us to go figure out, because we've never been there as a business, or we've never been there with this size of a team, or we've never been there with these kinds of market conditions or client situations. And that experience that we have, I'm sure is germane for everybody listening who's going, oh yeah, holy cow, I'm running into new things day after day after day.
Yeah, it's that bit. When you and I talked about how having answers is no longer our most valuable contribution.
Mm-hmm.
It's having the questions, and it's how you come to the table with people and how you invite others in to challenge our thinking and challenge our decision making. And not for some leaders who start working with us, most, if not all, of the decision makers, when we first start working with them, most of the leaders are very much on the offense in wanting to be supported with challenging them, wanting to expand how they're thinking critically and creatively, how they're making decisions. And that's key in terms of how business leaders continue to grow and advance.
It also is interesting because it highlights two things. One is we talk a lot with people who say, hey, challenging each other is really important. And a lot of folks hear that and think about, oh, I can challenge this person, or I can challenge that person. And then I'll often say out loud, and that also means being challenged. And all of a sudden they're like, ruh-roh, I'm the other person who's getting the challenge. And so that's really key, because oftentimes that's where people get uncomfortable, because for a lot of us, we haven't got a lot of professional experience with how do I get challenged, perhaps even in a strong way, or when the stakes are high. And I see that as support, not, golly, like, Bob, what the hell? You were sharpshooting me left and right in that meeting. Like, what the fuck? That's how most people receive it, and not thinking of it as, wow, yeah, you really helped me tighten up how I was thinking about this. You challenged me to get out of some perhaps lazy mindsets or old patterns that don't fit in this situation. And that's such a big shift for so many people.
Well, you're bringing up several key dynamics. I'm going to go back to the receiving. In the Wingspan system, we have our essential forms of support: acknowledging, challenging, exercise and accountability, feedback. And these, when the leader team is really performing at a healthy, high level, they are exchanging these forms of support on a daily, on an everyday kind of basis, a daily or weekly basis. And the receiving, like you're saying, the receiving of being held accountable, that is some of our most important space as leaders to exercise leader behavior, rather than what, like you're saying, rather than getting triggered, or like thinking or feeling like I'm being questioned, versus, like you just said, shifting into leader behavior and really entrepreneurial behavior to think I'm being supported. Ivan is challenging me, and that's a really important form of support that I'm counting on from him.
Yeah, and you and I do this a good bit with each other, and I also have seen it where so many leaders will, when they get challenged, usually they go to the extremes, and one is they just shut down and like I don't know what to do when they keep questioning me, or they're poking holes in this idea. That's one option. The other thing that can happen is they go all Hulk Hogan, and they're like,
they want to fight.
Stop! Yeah, knock that off. This is the thing. And one of the things I'll say to a lot of times to leaders is, man, when someone is going out on a limb and they're doing something that may not feel terribly safe for themselves, to challenge you as the leader, buddy, they are absolutely locked in to how you respond. And so if they offer something, and especially if it's not a comfortable thing for them to do, they're watching your response more than anything else. Because if you respond with a
definite,
man, that's bullshit, and you just shut it down, they're just going to take all these other ideas they had, or all these other questions that they were going to ask that were almost certainly going to help the conversation, and they're going to tuck that right in their pocket and be like, all right, man, it's your show. I'm just going to sit back and do whatever you tell me to.
Yeah, and that's where even if a leader has grown to the point of expecting that real healthy, we call it sparring, that real healthy sparring within the team. So all those behaviors and mindset, asking one another questions. A leader, if they've grown and they're expecting that, sometimes they're accidentally working against it with their habits of behavior.
Mm.
So, like you said, if you, as my manager, if I come to you and I'm gauging, like I'm taking a little risk, I might give you say some feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm putting myself out there a little bit, and then I'm absolutely watching how you receive it.
Yep.
You, out of habit, just strictly out of habit, maybe you're, a lot of the leaders we work with, maybe you're running 200 miles an hour and you're accidentally dismissing. You don't mean to, though. It's just a habit that you have. I just clocked that, and now I'm going to withhold.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to withhold further feedback. I'm going to second guess. And start to hesitate how I interact with you.
Yeah. And so many leaders will over-index towards what other people are doing or not doing in a situation to provide that kind of feedback or ask those hard questions. And they so often fail to see how their part changes the dynamic. I was on a team years ago where a senior sales leader would want people to speak up. And then every time they did, he was like just unnecessarily sharpshooting this or poking holes in that. And it would be one thing if those ideas were things that were really important or we were getting ready to action on. It was more of this. It's just the way he had routine exchanges. Mm-hmm. For me, it felt like he wanted to be the smartest guy in the room. He wanted to tell me where I was off track or where I was missing things. And some of that, absolutely, I want to know. It's just when that felt like the first, second, and third priorities in his messaging, man, I was just like, forget them. Like you don't really want to have a conversation. You want to monologue and be smart and
dictate.
Be told, and dictate. And like, okay, great, man. If that's the way you want to roll, go for it. Just know that the rest of us are that's not a conversation that we want to have.
And on his end, whether that is intentional or whether that is habitual, both of those are a problem.
Yeah.
You are absolutely not going to get the best performance and contribution from the people around you when you're interacting that way.
There's another angle to this too, which is it's not just how the leader or a person is asking for and creating safety for real challenging and real questions. It's also who are they asking? Because sometimes it can feel...
I really like this.
It can feel easy to say, well, I'm going to pull, Bob, Amy, and Steve into this call when they probably know, well, Bob, Amy, and Steve think just like me. And so it's going to be an easy conversation. And what I say to folks is, if it's not important and you just want someone to do a quick sniff check, that smells fine. Yeah, do that. If you want though people to really challenge you, get people who think differently.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that because spot on in terms of whether it's a decision or sometimes when a leader is finally got the balls to go and ask for feedback, they'll ask their fan club.
Yeah.
And I know you and I know that there are business leaders who sadly surround themselves with yes people.
Yeah.
And again,
plenty of politicians who do that too.
Yes. So I like what you're talking about in terms of who you're asking, and that's important for ambitious business leaders that want to continue to grow their business, grow their team, and increase their own personal experience.
Yeah,
it is essential to bring in partners, and really valuable to bring in partners who are quote unquote external to the organization.
Yeah, which can also mean people or people who don't necessarily have technical experience. You probably remember we did a big leadership development program for companies just on the southeast side of Charlotte years ago. And in the small groups, it was a mix of people from different parts of the business. And so
different functions.
Yeah, different functions. There was someone there from ops, there was someone there from production, someone there from HR. And I distinctly remember one of the leaders was preparing for a briefing he was going to do to most of the business, most of the senior business leaders in a weekly call that they had. And as he was prepping, he had a small team help him, which was absolutely genius. And he said some of the best support he got was from the HR person who didn't know all the technical bits and pieces of what he was going to talk about. It also didn't matter because what she was able to do was to ask him questions about, hey, how are you going to present this in a way where everybody's going to understand this? Or what does that actually mean? Like you understand that when this does this and the number goes to this or the reading is that, you know what that means. How are you going to put that in context for everyone else? And he said he got the best support from her, even though she knew the least, and probably because she knew the least about the technical stuff. And so she could just skip over that and get to how is this going to brief? How are people going to, what are they going to take away from this?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you and I and our other Wingspan advisors continue to help leaders to see that because they have been for a lot of years over-indexing on the technical side of their performance. And then not only do they continue to think, well, Sally is best equipped to help me think through this because she's technical in the way that I'm technical. Her expertise is in this technical space, whether that technical space is technology or sales or like you're saying, human resources. And so they're really shortchanging themselves on what they are producing with their teammates when they only choose the other, person in their function versus reaching out cross-functionally. And I just had this conversation last week with a regional manager. She was underselling or underestimating her own value in practicing that powerful partnering with her colleagues because she didn't have the same technical experience. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that actually enhances your value because you're not bringing in that similar perspective. You are a business leader working with other business leaders, and how you go about asking questions is really going back to our a couple of episodes ago. We talked about that is bringing more questions to the table. That's powerful partnering. Not bringing in your knowledge or quote unquote answers because of your experience.
And there are times where an answer, and for folks, I'm sure someone listening to this right now is going, well, if we're not coming up with a good answer, then what the hell are we doing? Sure, absolutely. There are plenty of situations where coming up with a good answer, a good plan is critical in an exchange. And also for everyone, make sure we're separating. This also doesn't mean though that your worth is your ideas. Your worth can be your questions. Your worth can be your openness to having your ideas. I like to think of them as a like a Lego. Like, hey, here, like a Lego thing. I've built this, car or whatever it is out of Legos, and I put it forward, and then someone going, oh, okay, that's good. What if we, pop these 4 Legos off in the back and put these other Legos in there instead? Like, ooh, interesting. I hadn't thought of that. And so that idea of how do we A, not get attached to our ideas, and then B, how do we also not just because that's the language a lot of people will use. How do we encourage people to break these ideas apart into chunks, and how can we strengthen some of these pieces so that the thing as a whole is much stronger?
Yeah, and not only encourage. How about require team members to come to the table and exercise those parts of their behavioral performance?
Yeah, and that gets back to that safety piece of someone being very, very willing, and again, expecting. I love that other people take their ideas and start to pull them apart and stretch them and replace and upgrade and do all that stuff without them going, well, that's my idea. Yeah, okay. It was your idea, which is awesome. That's the nucleus. And now the team is contributing to it to make it even stronger and better.
Well, and that it also continues to a whole other level is to not value the idea and rather value the behavior of bringing ideas.
That's awesome. Yep.
The behavior of bringing ideas and not being attached to them being your ideas. the behavior of bringing your ideas and then purposefully soliciting someone to blow it apart or challenge it, dismantle it.
Yeah.
And those are healthy, high-performing behaviors for a team.
Yeah. Yeah. It also brings up the next component or evolution of this, which is who decides or how does a team decide? I've had so many conversations with leaders where they've got new managers because the business is quickly evolving, or perhaps there's some folks who are getting poached by other businesses. And part of what I've been encouraging them to do is to come up with who's deciding on what approach. And so that way it's really clear if the senior leader, like for us, you as a president of Wingspan, there are things that I'm not going to decide without your definite involvement, heavy input, because I don't see things from your seat. I may not understand things the way you do, certainly. And so that's where I'm going to say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Then we decide together. There's other things that I'm going to decide and just let you know, hey, I did X or I did Y.
Yeah.
I just make that independently. And the other things that I do, I don't even tell you about.
Yeah.
So
thank goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, and that's been something that I've been working on over the years. It's part of the whole not knowing detail. You and I talked about this also. Not knowing details on purpose.
Yeah.
I don't have the time, the capacity, and I've got a team.
Yeah.
Which it continues to be practice because I'm a control freak.
Bless your heart, you are. Just a wee bit, lass. Just a wee bit.
But the other thing, so going back to sometimes when a team has been working together a long time, or an individual has been working in a company for a long time, they forget to keep pulling in perspectives and partners on the outside. Yeah. That's something that I feel really good about in terms of what we do with Kurt. Shout out to Kurt Graves, our business advisor, who's absolutely tremendous. Of course, I've rejoined my CEO group with Vistage, and that whole deal is about being supported with sometimes being challenged. Yeah. Different approaches, different perspective. Yep. Shay, bringing in Shay.
Shay's amazing. Shay Prosser, another shout out.
Yeah, another shout out for sure.
Strong
she and I
business support. Yeah, she did a podcast with you just a little bit ago.
Yeah, and it's the really for those of you who are listening, when's the last time you've really stopped and challenged yourself to pull in and actively put in place someone, granting them permission and asking them to challenge you. Of course, that is a privilege that Wingspan advisors have in the relationships with the leaders we're working with. Yeah, that's part of our job.
It's also part of what sets us apart, because I've talked to plenty of clients, I'm sure you have as well, who have said, one of the things I like is that you don't come in here and tell me I'm doing great and everything's wonderful and good job and a little pat on the head. And I've had several people who have said, you're getting me to think, you're challenging me. Like I had never considered this angle of this before, or how to approach this conversation. And some people really, really gravitate to that. And usually it's the really, really good leaders. And then some of the ones who are like, yeah, nope, no thanks. That's not what I'm looking for. I usually say to them, okay, great. Then we're not what you're looking for. Yeah. Because if you're not willing to be challenged, if you're not willing to have this conversational melee where we really go back and forth and we pull things apart and we talk about it and we examine things, then this isn't a good fit.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. If you want to just be patted on the head and told you're amazing, we are not. Although, of course, at the same time, the leaders we work with are amazing. We do tell them that, though.
Absolutely.
For sure, it's supporting them comprehensively with multiple kinds of support.
And so when bringing this back around to decision making and for organizations.
And how a team is thinking.
How a team is thinking. So for folks listening, just make a note of getting outside support, challenging each other, which consists of asking better questions, being open to being challenged. And then also, and we didn't hit on this as much, fully listening. I mean, one of the things I see so often is people will be having a conversation and somebody will say something and you can see another person, their hamster's running 200 miles an hour. And then they kind of get a little like, and then they just stop listening. And it's like, dude, this person's making 3 or 4 more really good points. And it seems to be washing right over you because you're waiting to respond. You're not still listening and going, wait, tell me more. Like, how are you thinking about this? What else is going on? And so that's where I'm like, yeah, man, it still takes fully locking into what that person is sharing.
No, that deserves a lot more attention in the work that we do with leaders, in just more attention, within our own team, and perhaps spending a little more time, like in some upcoming episodes, really talking about listening.
Yeah.
For sure. Underrated, insufficient amount of attention leaders put on that.
It is. And so to summarize from the rest of this, in addition to those 2 things, is not being overly attached to ideas, not just being okay with, actively encouraging and telling people part of your job today is to take not just my ideas, anyone's ideas, and play with them, pull them apart, look to upgrade bits and pieces. And then also for a team to decide, how are we going to decide? And it might be the leader comes in and says, I'm making the final decision on this and I want everybody's input. It might be they have a back and forth and it's more of a group decision. And it might be individuals run off and make decisions and then just tell the leader, hey, we're going to do this. You're not getting into the middle of it.
Yeah. And I like that a lot in terms of practicing the behavior of asking questions about how decisions are made. So like, for example, one leader that I was talking with said that actually it was a consultant that was in, though her manager also had the habit of asking and then having already decided something, which is so freaking annoying. And so I said, hey, something you can practice is to say, Holly, how much of this has been decided already?
Yeah. Or to say, hey, I'm 70% confident I'm going this direction and I want to get a sniff check from you on this thing to help me tighten up this last 30%.
Yeah.
Then that helps people know, because I distinctly remember being in a team meeting years ago when our manager and then our manager's manager were
before Wingspan.
Yeah, before I came to Wingspan. And so my manager and his manager were there and they were showing us this new website for our part of the business. And so they throw it up on the screen and there's 12 of us in the room. And so he shows it and click, click, click. And says, so what do you think? And I looked to my left and I looked to my right and nobody's saying anything. And no shocker me, I was like, yeah, I got a few thoughts. So, pow, 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 pow. And I start running through some things and everything I said was legit. And also everything I said was accurate about what was going on and how customers were telling us what they found difficult about using our current website and the new one. Wasn't fixing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of my thoughts and my manager's manager comes back in the room and she just shoots daggers straight at me visually. And she goes, we paid a lot of money for this website and it goes live tomorrow.
Oh,
and I'm like,
what the hell?
For fuck's sakes, don't ask me questions or don't ask us questions. What do you think? If the thing is, it's printed, it's done, it's finished.
Yes.
Like, don't stop asking.
Yes.
Just tell us,
God.
hey, this is going to go live tomorrow. So figure out how to navigate this or figure out what customers are going to want to use the most or whatever else it is. Like, don't ask for input if you're not willing to take the input. That's just disingenuous and people can smell the rat.
Well, that is precisely some behavioral bullshit.
Yes.
I'm going to ask for input or ask for quote unquote feedback.
Yeah.
I do not mean it at all.
Zero intent to use it.
Zero intent to use it.
Yeah.
And to think that people aren't smart enough to figure it out.
Yeah.
So no, I like that we covered this, and definitely, encouraging our listeners to keep inviting that kind of strong, healthy support. Keep, like you say, exercising some intellectual rigor.
Yeah.
Keep exercising that. Like, continue to look at how you're thinking. Examine how you're thinking, or how your team is thinking and coming together, and put that into play. Put something into practice that we just talked about, and you'll be leading without the BS.
Yeah. And make sure you get a nice coffee mug to drink out of.
You're lucky that is still one piece, and that I haven't just thrown it out.
If you do, if you escalate, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to first get a bigger coffee mug, and then I'm going to go bucket, and then I'm going to get a shirt, and then I'm going to buy a billboard somewhere in town.
That's not why. I'm not afraid of those things happening.
You're not afraid
though
of those things.
I haven't broken it because I have a better sense of humor about myself the older I get.
You're the best.
Oh my gosh. All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Take care. Have a good one.